Amy, why don't you introduce yourself to the world and tell everybody where they can find you?
Excellent. I'm Amy Robles, and
She can log on.
At thinkandrich.com. And that's where I help those who don't think in spreadsheets and don't think in financial information figure out the system that works to manage their money. And it's been incredible. In 2 years, we paid off over $40,000 of debt. And so now I've helped families do that, and it's been an incredible opportunity. Mm-hmm. You can find me at thinkandrich.com.
Wow. That was great. That was like, I'm all pumped up. Amy Robles. I love it. Well, I am Rocco DeLeo, and as the thing says, I'm at Dad Makes 7 on Twitter. I have a podcast, and Dad Makes 7, and everything about me is at roccodeleo.com. But really, everybody's here today for the guest of honor, Mr. Ellory Wells.
Not me. I think the guest of honor is masterminds in general.
Yes. Tell the world about who Ellory Wells is, and then I want you to maybe define what a mastermind group is for those of people that don't know what a mastermind group is.
Sure. I'm going to pull up the definition that I have created for all of that, so I don't say something that's different than what I have blogged about or created.
Yeah, we're trying to catch you. That's not what you said.
Yeah, don't want to say the wrong thing. But yeah, I'm Ellory Wells. I've been blogging since 2012. You can find me, my blog, my podcast, videos, connect with me socially, all those kinds of things at ellorywells.com. Yeah, well, I guess you guys are seeing it, so it's exactly like you are seeing it right there.com. If you're listening to this later, ELLORYWELLS.com. I'm the only one in the world, so if you try to spell it, you'll probably get it in the right place.
And he's a master of SEO, so just type in the letter E in Google, and Ellory Wells can
maybe. I wish I was that lucky. I've been doing these things for a long time. I didn't start off with the idea of turning this into any sort of business. In fact, I started off as this would be just a hobby. I didn't even spend money on. I got the cheapest hosting. I went free everything because it was just something for fun. But what I saw was that what I had been blogging about was connecting with people, and that's how I got my first client. Not the topic for today, but she liked what I was reading. And over time, I just learned to leverage my strengths of being very analytical, being very research heavy, and just with my background, being able to take some really complex things and be able to explain them in a very simple way. It developed into this business of being able to help people do these same kinds of things.
Excellent.
Am I lagging really bad, or are you just waiting for me to say something else?
I'm like, is there more? Is that it? That's it. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice night. We'll see you next year. No, that's awesome. So the Reader's Digest version of the mastermind group is people coming together and helping each other and being accountable and all that great stuff. What makes meeting with Ellory Wells and as we call it, the Catalyst Mastermind Group, what makes this different than all the other mastermind groups out there?
Well, honestly, I've been thinking about how I might answer this question or a very similar question, Rocco. And the answer to that question is I don't know. I've only been in a handful of masterminds, but I've been utilizing a mastermind concept over several years, even before I started working with you guys and things like that. But what makes a mastermind, I think if I can be so bold as to say, the better question is what makes a mastermind different than just hanging out with your friends? Because I think that's usually the questions I get are not like, should I join this one or that one? It's, well, I've got friends for that. So if I can address that question, it's mostly because we're friends with our friends outside of business for things that we have done or where we've been or things in the past. And a mastermind is all about choosing your friends with purpose and intention about where you want to go in the future. And I think that's a big distinction. We're friends with our friends because we like the same things. I'm sure everybody here is going to go see Star Wars in a few days. We like those movies. There you go. But the Mastermind really just takes it from, this isn't social hour. We're here for a purpose. Yeah, I have a ton of fun. I think you guys do too.
Yeah.
But it's it's getting together for a reason.
I like that. So everybody comes together for the same purpose, where we're all trying to move the needle on something, and we know that we're not there just to hang out. We know that. Now, Amy, have you been in a mastermind group before? This is my first group.
And it was a different program. It was more focused on one specific book and program. Okay. So we were following along with that. This program has been really interesting and insightful for me to learn, because the people in the group are different than me. And Matt and John are actually in here listening and going to join us a little bit later. But their strengths are completely different from my strengths. I'm a creative. I love just going with my gut, and this is how it's going to go. And that is not Ellory. He loves the facts. He loves the research. He loves digging way down before he makes a decision. And I've learned so much from him and working with our group in that capacity.
Well, thank you, Amy. I'm glad you said I'm not a creative. That's all I heard out of all of that. I'm not a creative person.
No. I apologize.
Did you hear the audio, Ellory? Because I cut out for a second. Did we as long as I went in that the world heard it, I didn't have to hear it. But I'm sure she was saying great things about me. She was probably saying, "And that Rocco guy, thank goodness." So, Amy, since you've got the floor here, why don't you walk through, let's share a little bit of some successes and kind of like where you were when you met Ellory, where you met this group, and a little bit of what has happened while you're in the group and kind of where you're at now.
Okay.
Then I'll do the same.
When I first met Ellory, I was shy and quiet. I never. No.
Yeah.
Like that does not sound right. That's not.
No.
I knew that I really wanted to have a business. I knew that I want to connect with people. I knew that having my podcast, talking to people, reaching out to them was really important to me. But I didn't know how to take that and make it into a business model. Does that make sense? I have a lot of friends that have blogs or they have a podcast and they invest hours and hours on it. But you need a product, you need something to sell, you need something to actually offer people listening to you so they can become customers. That's where I'm seeing the progress. That's where I'm having more confidence in myself, actually offering a product that can really help and really provide a service for those really listening in and reading in my blog. But what I was saying is I was able to connect with people and I have this audience that trusts me implicitly, but I have yet to make sure that I have a product to sell or a service to offer that I really believe in and have that confidence to know that what I'm doing is the right thing for my audience. And so Ellory's been just crucial in absolutely, the word that keeps going through my mind is so influential, giving me that confidence and telling me I need to be out there even more. And I never thought about doing video before I had talked to Ellory. And then pretty soon I'm doing blabs left and right. And he says, you need to be on camera more. You need to be talking to people. They need to see your huge mouth. They need to hear your story. They need to enjoy what you're telling them and have a good time doing it.
And you're good. You're so good. We've just recently started talking, just so the world knows, but you make me smile and you just have so much energy. And I see this. So if Ellory helped get you in front of a camera, let's give him props. Let's go. I'm going to give him props. He's got 39. He needs more. Good job, Ellory. Cause I think you found a sweet spot for Amy.
He's really been influential in that capacity. And seeing things from a different perspective, it just gives me more confidence in what I have to offer people. I think a lot of times when we're building our own online businesses, we just see us from where we've always been, from what who we are, and who we are in 7th grade is not who we are right now. Can you imagine?
Oh, goodness.
We
No,
forget
no.
all that we've grown and progressed and the experience that we've been through to offer the world. And by having that mastermind, by having a coach who's really looking out for what's best for you, the way Ellory sees that perspective, he helps you gain that and take risks and move in the right direction. That's what's been incredible.
Well said.
Thank
well
you.
said. I've had very similar experience to that. I reached out to Ellory, maybe it was April or March. What's the month before March? February, earlier this year. And I can't remember where I connected with him. I think it was another podcast, but I wanted help with the podcast and reached out to Ellory a little bit. And this famous podcaster guy returned my email. Like, wow, Ellory Wells. And with a name like Ellory Wells, he sounds like so like profound, So and
then reality let you down. Is that what
I know. And then I'm like, oh, he's like 12. Stop. He's like 12. Like, oh my goodness. There's a lot of wisdom in those 12 years though. So I wanted to create a podcast. That's all I wanted to do. And I've said up until recently, I don't even want to do a business. I'm not entrepreneurial. Of course, I've been in sales my entire adult life. But he got me there. He got my podcast going and helped me switch from sort of a website that looked very much like it was built in the garage to one that looks like it was built in a nice garage. And now he's helping me build something that's now he's helping me build something that looks like it was built inside a really good place. So that's really coming here. But it helped me with my podcast and helped me get my message and that avatar piece. Helping me find my audience. That's probably been the biggest thing is, you could get really good at writing, you get really good at creating content, but if it's sort of just not to anybody, sort of to everybody, you need somebody to bounce that off of. You need to say, hey, here's what I'm working on. And Ellory is really good at knowing who his audience is because he had to do it himself to create a business, to support his family doing this. He had to be good. You don't want to waste his time.
I'm just glad you guys are seeing, and not that it is a small difference, but I'm glad you're seeing even just a small difference in some of these things. Because that's one of the things, when I set out to design these things, and I don't know how much you guys know, and I'm sure the people that are watching know most likely even less than what I'm about to share with you guys. But I've seen masterminds where you're one of 1,000 people, or you pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year, and you have a quarterly phone call for 30 minutes or a 1-month phone call. And you're just a number. And I didn't want to do that, and B, I tried to make results, a difference between yesterday and today, something that we can all see on a regular basis. Because if you're not getting results, I mean, there's no point. There's no additional value in talking to me or just locking yourself in a room and trying to figure it out on your own or reading a book. You have to move the needle, and that's a goal. So I'm glad to hear you say that.
And in conjunction with that, it's different than taking a course. You can sign up for a course that's going to teach you just one element. But when you're in your own business, there's more than just setting up an email automation system, right? There's all of these different steps. And so your questions, it's not sequential. And by having a mastermind, you're able to ask on this section and on a different section and move and learn when you are ready and progress forward that way.
There's so much that we don't know that we don't know. And to have somebody that's been there and to be connected with other people, not just Ellory. There's much more value than Ellory, although you're a very valuable guy.
That's true.
But connecting with everybody and finding out there are things that I don't know that I don't know. And it's moved my needle, if you will, so much further than if I would have said, hey, let me just find these questions. Because you can YouTube how to put together a WordPress website and get that done. But I would never have known what optimized press is, the magic and whatever that stuff is. Right. And faux pas, blogging faux pas and different things like that, that when you have somebody watching your back and kind of guiding you, it it shortens the learning curve, and it gets you out there doing the stuff that's going to make a difference in your life. Before we got into the Q&A, I wanted to give anyone else excuse me, I wanted to give anyone else from our mastermind group a chance to maybe give a little bit of a success story, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, just kind of walk through the success you found with Ellory. Is there anybody from the group? I see John. John, do you want to jump on here?
Thanks for the
the props.
raise the roof fans. Yeah.
John Stolpe, how are you, my friend?
Hey, buddy.
Rhymes with dopey, right?
We've got that now. John Stolpe rhymes with dopey, but he's not dopey.
I hope not.
So why don't you share a little bit of success, kind of what you've gotten from this experience?
Yeah, so the Mastermind group has been a great thing for me personally. For one, I've gotten to know Ellory a little bit better. I've certainly got to know Amy and Matt Lovell, who are also in our Mastermind group. And it has been encouraging for me as an engineer who has this side interest in writing and speaking to know that there are other people who have other interests that they're pursuing, that they're encouraging me and being my cheerleader, but I also have that opportunity to be that for others. And so the Mastermind group for me has been so much about just that, but it has also been a great place for me to kind of figure out some of my next steps in my writing and in my speaking. Writing in particular, I know the last time I was on the hot seat, we haven't even talked about the hot seat, but the last time I was on the hot seat with the Mastermind group, we got down into talking about my next book project and a couple of the next things that I want to be working on. Now, I'm on the hot seat tomorrow, actually, for our group, and I'm wondering what's going to happen with my second time on the hot seat. But I really gained some momentum, some inspiration, and some motivation to get moving on some things that I had kind of been holding back on, maybe partially because I just needed some affirmation that I was heading in the right direction. So the Mastermind group has provided a lot of that for me.
Excellent.
Well,
and can
great.
I add a little
That's
bit
great.
from this? I've learned so much from John. He has this great full-time job. He does so much, so very well professionally in his full-time life. Plus, he's a super dad supporting his kids in all these different projects. And he still takes time to write and create all that he's working on. And there's some times where I'll be sharing something and I see him wait and I see him thinking and I can just tell there's something coming. And so learning from him how he processes and how he is adding and figuring it out in his mind before he shares something, I have learned so much just in our professional style, in the way that we work, that has really taught me and helped me in my own business.
Yeah,
Well,
John, I'm glad you
ahead.
mentioned the part about being able to share and get that encouragement, because that's another part of my story, to throw that last little bit in there, is when I did have my corporate job, I felt every time I talk about blogging or podcasting, people kind of looked at me like I was stupid. Like that, like people don't do that. Yeah, they didn't know what it was. They just thought it was kind of weird. And I wanted to create a place where we could talk about those kinds of things, and nobody's going to look at you like you're stupid. So hopefully that comes across, and hopefully you guys, I think you are comfortable sharing those kinds of things. But I'm glad you have found that, John, because I've been in a large company, you're in a large company, and I have shared these goals that I had and just gotten these either neutral, like wide-eyed stares, to the negative, that's just kind of weird and dumb, and we're not going to talk to you anymore. So I'm glad you found that support and encouragement.
Yeah, and I think I would add that, a lot of people, this call is called New to Entrepreneurship. And being an entrepreneur does not necessarily mean that you're going to walk away from your corporate job. I feel called to be in my corporate job for sure. But I also feel that I have some gifts and talents I need to use and some connections I need to use outside of my work. And that involves the things that we talk about in our mastermind group. So, I know that a lot of people move from a corporate world into a full-bore entrepreneur, and that's great, entrepreneurship, and that's great. But if you're on the fence and you still feel like you're called to the corporate world, that's okay. Just know that you can also, if you have desires and wants and needs to go after things outside of that, there's an avenue for that. And thankfully, Ellory has allowed me to be part of his group, even though I'm still, have a good portion of my foot stuck in the entrepreneur or in the corporate world.
Well, and part of that, can you share your experience with the whole Shark Tank project, everything that happened?
Sure. I had the opportunity. I'm an operations manager for a major construction company that's based in Germany, but my company is based, my office is based in the Philadelphia area. And there was a managers meeting at the beginning of November, and they were looking for ideas for innovation for operations and for sales. And I'm in the operations group as with an engineering background. That's kind of where I land. So I threw out an idea, and I think I may have mentioned it to the Mastermind group. I'm not really sure of the whole path there, but they chose 3 finalists to go and present at the management meeting to over 400 managers in Phoenix. And I was chosen as one of the finalists. And it was set up in a whole Shark Tank type setting, except instead of presenting to a group of entrepreneurs or sharks in a row, I was presenting in a round. So I had to present 360. And they decided to fund the winning project, and my project won. Woo-hoo. Which was really cool.
That's awesome.
But, there was a lot that went into that. And I do attribute some of that success to the Mastermind group. There was definitely some encouragement that came along the way as I was starting to figure out how in the world I'm going to address over 400 managers in that type of setting. So I attribute some of the success definitely to our group.
I feel like you've gotten more comfortable behind the camera too, John, just in the last couple months. I don't know. That's sort of loosely related, but less nerves for everybody, and so.
Well, I think one of the things that you get from having exposure to people that are, at the same level of, wanting to just push in this ambition is you put yourself out there. It takes some courage, and to even just be on a blab and just talking like just talking and pressing publish, that takes courage. But when you do it and you have the encouragement from other people who are at that same level of ambition and they're not laughing at you. Ellory laughs at my podcast sometimes, but that guy,
that's something.
But it gives you that encouragement. It gives that courage or whatever it is that you could keep doing this. That hey, maybe I am real. We just grow. We grow a little bit each time we get out there. So, John, I've seen you grow since the last time we spoke, which was the first time we spoke, like a couple weeks ago. And the camera angle, you've definitely grown. But any other questions for John? I think there's so much value in what he just said there. It's just Mr. Shark Tank.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, the timing, just watching him go through that process was pretty amazing just to see.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's been good. It's been a good thing. And, if you're sitting, like I said, if you're sitting on the fence, James, I don't know who you are, but I saw some of your feed earlier on and some of your interaction with Rocco. It sounds like you're not quite sure about this Mastermind thing. Hey, you got to have a call with Ellory or talk to Rocco if he's your connection and, dig deeper on this, because I'm telling you, I am so glad that Ellory reached out to me and said, hey, I would just like you to consider this. It's one of the best things I've done in the past year or two, for sure.
That's
awesome.
That's great, John, for mentioning that. And I think James hopped off the call, but James and I are friends and we've connected some other means, and I'm definitely encouraging him to continually connect with Ellory. And he's really exactly the type of person that we're hoping hears this or is on this call right now. That person that's considering it, that's not sure that, well, is it in the budget? Is it not, where it's so worth whatever everyone's paying Ellory. And I know I make his car payment every month. So I'm kidding. It is, I get way more. I don't want to scare I don't want to scare people away. I actually am getting way more than I pay for. I could say that. John, thank you for hopping on here. I want to see if we could get if there's anybody. I guess I have to say goodbye. I'm going to say goodbye to you, John. We're going to.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for joining us, John.
Yep.
Bye, buddy.
And we're going to see if anybody wants to hop on. And if you guys, Amy, Ellory, have any other words, we're waiting for someone to hop on. But I want to invite anyone out there to if you have any questions, maybe we'll take 2-3 minutes and ask Ellory a question. We could pose it to everyone in the group here. If you're stuck on something, if you need some help, or if you just have any basic questions about Ellory or the Mastermind group, hop on. We invite you.
Yeah, and if I don't know how the volunteer joining process goes, so to fill in some time before we get the next person, Rocco, I recorded this video, and I don't know if I'll ever share it because I think I kind of came off a little bit frustrated because I just get weird questions from people, whether thinking about if they're the right type of person, and sometimes you think, well, like that's just I hear it in people's voices, and like I don't know if it's for me, and I don't want to sell anybody on the idea, but we have people in this group. Let's see, from Washington to Atlanta, from South Florida, or not South Florida, South California, Southern California, to Boston and Pennsylvania, all around the country. From I think we've got somebody in their late 20s to probably in their 50s, if I had to guess. So all geographic areas from all different age groups. There's single people, I think. Actually, there might not be any single people. Most people are married, but that doesn't mean anything. Some people have kids. Some people don't. We have people who are generating revenue currently in their business, and people like Rusty said over in the side chat a few minutes ago. He said he's pre-launch, I think is what he said. So anything from I have a business and I know what, and I need to grow it, to I'm not quite sure exactly what I want to do. So there's a wide range of that. And I try to get people who are in the same position, but from a variety of backgrounds. Because I found that when you can explain your mission and your purpose and what you would like to do to people who don't really know what you're talking about, it'll help you clarify that message and connect with us the same way you would honestly connect with a potential client or customer in the future. Yeah.
Now, Carlos wanted to learn a little bit more. I think Carlos is FYIT Technologies. Mm-hmm. A little bit more about the Mastermind, and I'm thinking he maybe a little bit more about the Mastermind itself. Maybe we could give sort of just a rundown of sort of the format of course I know because I'm in one, but let's walk them through a little bit of what they would expect on a Mind call.
So do you want me to answer that, or would
I was going to say maybe both of you guys, we could kind of walk around a little bit with that, but we can maybe share from a Mastermind person and then the Mastermind leader's point of view of what happens.
I'll let Amy take that one first.
Excellent. So I was a little nervous about the first group that I joined and what's going to happen. And Ellory pulled me aside and talked to me on the phone before we actually had our first group and said, "You're the only woman in the group. I don't think that's going to be a problem for you, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. Is that going to be okay?" And I'm like, all right, Mama can hold her own. We'll see how it goes. Just kind of trying to figure it out. So I came kind of with my defenses up, like, I don't know how this is going to work but from learning from the different personality types, from the way that they work, has just opened up my eyes to so many different things. And the first session I had on the hot seat. Okay, first of all, we just get together for a few minutes and we talk and just catch up about what's going on, one good thing that's really happening. And then someone is on the hot seat. And so for about 45 minutes, it's you and these other people in your group, 3 to 4 people, depending on the size of the group, focusing completely on what's working, on what you need to fix, on what you could fine tune to make even better. And the ideas that come out of there are not just like we say, two minds are better than one, three minds are better than two, and how it just builds exponentially that way, really helping and focusing completely on your business. After I have a hot seat session, then I usually take about an hour where I'm just like, whoa, there's so many ideas going on in my mind. I've got so many notes written down. There's so much happening. I need to process and figure out the best way. And that gives me a challenge and a focus on what to work on for the next few weeks so that I'm ready to present, like, this is what I've accomplished and this is what I want to do next. Now, the next time we meet as a group, somebody else is going to be on the hot seat, and you need to be able to give and to be as completely focused and willing to share and help that person figure out what's going on and the best strategy for their business just as much as they gave to you. And that's where that trust and that whole new level of really solidified business savvy coming together, that powerful synergy they talk about so much, is so incredible and really builds. And after a few months, then the trust level is there. And then the next time you meet together, then you just jump right into the ideas, you know, where they've come from and where that person's moving forward. What would you add, Ellory?
Very little. I think that was pretty awesome. I would say that the hot seat model is just like that. It's a focus. It's kind of if you think of in the old movies, or, you know, you're messing around as kids and the cops like, where were you on the night of the whatever? That's where you're put in the spotlight. The focus is on you, because a lot of people, including myself, sometimes have challenges around talking about what we're doing or what we're doing well at, bragging on ourselves a little bit. And that's not the entire purpose of that hot seat, but it's just, hey, this is really going well, and I want to share that with you guys so that you can implement maybe a piece of this in what you're doing. Here's what's not going so well, and admitting where we're having some struggles, because we need to, maybe for ourselves, but the third piece of that is to say, hey guys, I would really like some help with this. And John, who was just on the video a few minutes ago, and he's not the only one. A lot of people have done this. They upload a document we have a private Facebook group just for Mastermind members and a couple other people, and to get feedback on a project that he was working on. So it's what's working well, you know, hey, let's celebrate our successes for a second. And then what's not, where do I need help? Those kinds of things. And that's what the hot seat is. And it's a time to really, I think, get things done and have fun. I mean, I always have fun. They're some of my favorite parts of the weeks, but I usually try to make sure everybody knows it's not that social hour. It's not that happy hour. Hopefully, if you're watching this or the replay, you see that we're having a lot of fun. But we are here with the purpose, and that's what we come to every meeting with. So
it's great because we meet. I think all the groups meet every other week or twice a month. We always have fun. We always like, hey, how are things going? We check in with each other. But yet nobody ever goes, okay, let's get down to business now. You know, after I don't think we've ever been like, okay, it's been an hour, we need to stop. It goes an hour and a half sometimes, right? Because Ellory is having a great time. We're having a great time. We're talking about things that we're passionate about, that we're building. And we are rolling our sleeves up and building and putting together. And we're all coming together talking about the tools and the tactics and this works, this doesn't work. We screen share, we show each other what we're doing. Ellory is a master of technology. He's really good at this I've learned so much, and he's learned to blab today.
yeah.
So, and the other thing that I've gotten so much from you, Ellory, that I'd like to learn to get better at is you're really good at letting your students kind of do their thing, learn how to get there their own way, and a safety net here, but you don't say, hey, Rocco, you need to do exactly this. You have to use this plugin or that plugin, because that's what, unless you're not on WordPress, I just have to say. he was going to disown me
and
if
you're
I
still
didn't.
using those apples. It's time to upgrade to PC and Android.
Yeah. So, and we joke around about that, but you're letting us, we're learning the way we're doing the stuff we want to do, and we're learning it, and you're so adaptable, and you're able to teach us these skills without saying, no, you have to do it exactly my way. And not everybody has that skill. And right. I want people to understand that some other people may say you have to do it this way. It fits into my program. You need to do it this way. So I don't know. What do you have to add to that, Ellory?
Well, two things. One was just kind of recently, but you mentioned talking about the things about that make you happy and add energy to your life. Life's too short to spend time on things that frustrate you. And every time we show up to one of these meetings, we get to talk about the things that give us life, that give us energy, that we pull happiness and for, I don't know a synonym for energy, but more
Amy
energy.
Robles. Amy Robles is now a synonym for energy. I love it.
Zest. I don't know what the word is.
Yeah. So we do get to talk about the things that make us happy for at least an hour every other week. So I mean, yes. And then there are a lot. I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out the things that I don't know, and I know there are a lot of things that I do not know about, but I'm fairly confident in the things that I do know a lot about. But part of that confidence for me, just this is a way to do it. I mean, one of my good friends, I know, Rocco, you've spent some time learning from Marshall. He was our first experts call. I would not have set up his business the way that he set up his business. I would have used different tools. I might have gone with a different approach, and he is knocking it out of the park. So I know that I don't know everything. And honestly, there's no way for me to test everything. I can test as much as I can, but it's just,
and you test a lot.
Yeah, I just try to give feedback, and it keeps me learning. The more people that I work with, the more I feel like I have to learn, and not in a weird way, but I feel like I have to stay at least a half step ahead of some of you guys in certain areas. So I can at least provide some intelligent feedback, hey, this might work, or you might want to do it a little bit of a different way, or something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to do different things. I want to guide and sometimes push, sometimes pull, and give intelligent feedback along the way. So we talk about things that give us energy, and yeah, there's more than one way to do it. I have an opinion, but I don't always voice it. So
that's funny. Earlier in the conversation, John Stolpe, who was just on with us, he said, I think there's some comfort in the numbers as well. It's encouraging to know that I'm not the only one struggling to move forward. And there's just in the past few months, there's been times where I've gone for the preschool pickup to pick up my daughter and said, I got to go home. I've got to work. Oh, what do you do? I have a blog and a podcast. And the look was, oh,
bless your heart.
Cute.
Isn't that cute?
Right? And you could see in their eyes, they thought it was just a little mommy blog. And we just put, kind of like scrapbooking.
Oh, yeah.
And no, I want to get down to it. And I want to talk about the business side and really how to make things work. And when you find people with that intensity, with that kind of hunger and just drive, there is some power in that kind of motivation. So just being able to meet with them and learn from them of what's working and what they're really, really struggling with. And the next step just gives you so much additional insight that I think we would miss in our regular everyday routine.
Yeah, I tell people I'm in a mastermind group. They think I'm trying to take over the world. So,
there was that Pixar movie a year ago.
That's what
I was hoping that'd be good I'd get a flood of SEO traffic from that, and I don't think I ever did.
Oh, no, I was actually thinking way back to Pinky and the Brain, but there we go. Carlos just got that. Pinky and the Brain.
Brain.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, I'm aging myself as I'm almost 40 years old. John asked another good question, and we'll give this one to Ellory. What advice do you have to someone interested in starting their own mastermind?
Carlos, we'll come back to yours because I don't think we've answered Carlos's question. But
yes,
what advice
sorry.
do I have for someone interested in starting their own mastermind? As bad as this advice is, but as good as it is at the same time, just start. I mean, most people will. I think everybody to a certain degree suffers from a paralysis of analysis. Who should I have in it? Blah blah. Your first one. And your first anything, your first product, your first blog post, your first podcast episode, anytime you do something, be okay and be comfortable falling on your face. I had a similar conversation with one of my coaching clients the other day, and it's just, we have to be okay with just completely bombing. And I try to share, especially with you guys, projects. I've gotten so many emails about a domain registration from GoDaddy, and I'm not even going to renew the domain. It was just a project that I thought, yeah, this is going to be it. It didn't go anywhere, but I learned a lot. So just when you're talking about starting a mastermind, John, start somewhere. It can be Friday morning coffees with the church group, or guys that, you all work together and you're all up and awake anyway, so you're going to go and have coffee together. Try to find people that you would not normally connect with, because we can all relate most likely to people who we see at the office every day. We could talk in analogies and what's the word? Anagrams, whatever. Acronyms. That's what I'm looking for. Acronyms.
I was trying to think. I know I've heard the word anagram, but I think that's isn't that like devil worshiping? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Please.
I'm done.
We could talk about. I don't know, because you're the host. I'm the guest. I can't. I'm just kidding. But we could have these conversations with people who are in our own industry or in our niche, and people outside of that who are ultimately the people who would hire us or buy from us have no idea what we're talking about. So if you're looking at a mastermind, get people who are outside of your normal daily routine. So I just saw the little word of the day. Yes, pentagram. That's the upside down star, I think. Anyway, so get people that are outside of your normal routine, that will give you valuable feedback and who are comfortable being honest with you. I saw this awesome thing. It's on Instagram or something, and it says your good friends will say bad things to your face and good things behind your back, and bad friends will say good things to your face and bad things behind your back.
Somebody tweet that.
Find the people who are willing to say the things that you need to hear. Like, that's not working. You got to improve on this. I think you could be better. So find those people, find the people who are outside of your normal niche of people who know exactly what you're talking about, and just start. I mean, a mastermind doesn't have to be a huge group of people. In fact, it's better when it's not. And hopefully, John, that answers. That answers.
I like the iron sharpens iron. We're getting back to the Bible now. A little bit of biblical reference there.
Yes. That's right, Carlos. I mean, part of having a strong network is not always, and usually it's not addition, it's subtraction. Getting rid of those people who are negative influences on your life. We all have the same amount of time in a day, so why not spend that time with people who are going to add value, who are going to encourage us, who are going to help us get further instead of dragging us down. So, Amy, I think you might, I don't know what happened to Rocco, but
I'm sure he'll be right back. But I think the thing is that's really easy to say, to eliminate negative people out of your life, but that's a really big step. And sometimes some of the biggest negativity that's happening is happening inside. Is you don't even realize how you're not giving yourself enough credit, or giving yourself, the opportunity to really step forward and really excel. And so I think that's a really critical point, is by taking that perspective and helping and building up one another and finding that, which you can find in a mastermind different from anywhere else on the planet that I've experienced.
Yeah. And what's cool, and this isn't something that I've necessarily set out to do, but it's cool to see people and see you guys
Hello.
share your
Okay.
ideas.
I don't know. Am I still here? Does anybody see me?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're back.
you hear us.
Yeah. Did you just need a minute? We're glad you're here. Can you hear me, Rocco? We can hear you.
Well,
we can hear you.
Rocco, we can see. Okay. Thank you, Ellory. I can't hear anybody. So I'm going to stop talking until I can hear you because I'm probably interrupting you.
Okay. Go ahead, Ellory. You were saying.
I'm going to leave. I'm going to come back.
Okay.
There you go. I'm sure it was awesome information, but I don't remember what was I saying, David? Oh, okay. So it's really cool to see you guys share this like weird idea. Like, I don't know if this will work. I don't know if I want to share this, but I'm going to share it anyway. And then all of a sudden, and Amy, I think you have had this experience. You share this idea that you're not sure about, and you think, okay, maybe I'm a little bit crazy. And then all of a sudden, the other people in your mastermind group are like, oh, that's a fantastic idea. Oh, I need that. I think John Stolpe had this with his 12 disciplines. I hope it's 12. I hope I didn't ruin that. Or make him cut or add any. With his disciplines, like,
more work.
I'm not sure if this is good. And then it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So that's another kind of side effect. That's something that I didn't necessarily set out to do, but I love seeing you guys share an idea that you are questioning and then getting that feedback. Oh yeah. Okay. This is really good stuff. And I'm glad you're creating this product because I would actually use it myself. Just like your financial stuff, Amy. I mean, 10 clients, you save them $1,000 a year. That's $10,000 worth of value you create. I mean, how cool is that? And being able to share that and get that feedback, it's cool to be able to see that from my end.
Exciting. That's really exciting.
Did we?
No, we did.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Amy.
No, go ahead, Carlos. Okay. I read Carlos. I saw Rocco. I apologize.
That's okay. I was going to ask if we, while I was pretending to not be here, I'm wondering if we answered Carlos's question that I can't read.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Oh. So that we need to go ahead.
I can't.
So I'll just read the question out loud for those listening in. Ellory, how is it possible you are sharing such great content on your site and Twitter for free for the most part? I'll explain where I'm going with this.
Do we want to bring Carlos in? If Carlos wants to do the seat, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Do you want to talk directly to him, Carlos? You're welcome to join in. Sometimes it's difficult to jump on if people are on mobile or they're traveling or they're just listening in while, on public transportation. So we'll just see. Okay. He's going to be on with us in a second.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's great.
Well, to answer that question, Carlos, honestly, I think it almost comes as a necessity right now. Some of you guys who are listening or watching know who I am, but most of the world doesn't. We don't have brands behind when we're building a business like what a lot of us here are talking about. We don't have this brand equity of a Sony or a Walmart or a Target or a Microsoft or fill in the blank. So we have to prove our worth for free. I mean, if the first thing that I ever did was say, hey, you guys got to charge me for my advice or my opinion or whatever, how would anybody know that that's worth their time or money? And I know how much, even the $7 or $8 ebook, I know how much time and effort people have put into earning that $7 or 50 or 100 or 150. So I want to make sure I'm providing that value. But how can I ask you to pay me something when you have no idea even who I am? So blogging and podcasting, I think it comes out of a necessity so that people can know, like, and trust who you are as a tech guy or whoever. Why would let's say you're a computer person. I'm just going off of the technologies there, but what makes you different? I've got to trust that if I go to Carlos, you're going to fix it right the first time. And if something happens down the road, I can come back and you're not going to be gone the next day. So how is it possible? Time and knowing that part of it's sales funnel, bringing people in and moving them through this know, like, and trust stages. Doing these videos are a great way to do that. And yeah, I mean, here in 30, 40 days or so, I will have been doing this for 4 years. So, so it takes a little bit of time.
Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Absolutely.
cool. It just kind of switching between networks on that. So I know it kind of just froze on my end real quick.
Oh.
But Ellory, just to kind of, just add to what I asked on there. Yeah, I am in technology. I'm actually a technology consultant and have my own business. But the reason why I was asking you about the content being free and all that, because it's very passionate for me to also help folks. And I feel that's what you're doing with that, man. And it's huge. It's a very positive step to getting folks off, getting through their fears or over their fears, I should say, and just offering them just a positive way, man, that it's not a scary world out there. And that's how I kind of treat technology when I'm dealing with folks too. It's like, break things down to their level. Yeah. Okay. So you got the background and all of that, but I don't need to look smart in front of you to kind of have an ego boost. Why? Keep things real simple for folks. And it's more engaging also when you're willing to give without that expectation. I mean, it goes a long way. So I wanted just to personally tell you, dude, that's awesome what you're doing. Keep doing it. It's just great for all of us to learn from that,
Thank you. Had you heard of me before 12 hours ago?
Absolutely not. But I'm following you now. So, awesome. and I also wanted to find out how to connect with you too offline. I mean, your whole group here is just phenomenal. Like I was saying with Amy too, it's just got an intoxicating smile. You know what I mean? Just you guys are just well balanced in that sense too. I'm not leaving you out, Rocco, either. So that's good.
I'm just the guy who can't seem to keep his internet connection going.
Yeah, Mister, I upgraded and now I've got awesome internet. Mine was switching between my wired and Wi-Fi. That's when I had issues. Apparently, John gives me props for making fun of Rocco.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm going to keep doing that.
That's funny. I think we lost Amy too.
Maybe
I don't trust anything I'm looking on my screen now. I don't even know if anybody hears me talking because it's kind of crazy. But that's the fun part of Blab.
I think Carlos can hear you too.
Yeah,
I just wish everybody would stay in the same spot when they hop on because I keep looking. And I feel like I'm looking all over the place. But Carlos, I don't know if I think this will answer your question, or I don't know how much you blog as well. But a great business model these days, it's the term has become more popular, but it's been around a while. It's the freemium model. You give away most of it for free and then you charge for upgrades. A lot of apps on the App Store, Google Play Store, those kinds of things have gone to that model. And when you're talking about technology and stuff, I would maybe encourage you to just give as much of that information away for free as possible, because there's going to be some people out there maybe that are more like me who are like, okay, good. Now I don't have to hire Carlos. But I think there will be 99% more people who will say, holy crap, Carlos obviously knows what he's talking about. And he showed me enough to know this is way too complicated. And I can't do this, so I'm just going to call him and save myself the time and hire you. And that's what I try to do with a lot of stuff, is not to make it so complicated that people end up hiring me. But my ultimate goal is to help people not have to go back to an environment that makes them sick to their stomach, because that was me. I mean, I used to work from this same office Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I would go and I'd sit and work for 3 hours before work, and I'd come back and I'd have my coffee and I'd walk into this door right over there, and I would just get this knot in my stomach. I didn't want to even log into my work computer. And my ultimate goal is to help people not have to do that anymore. And if I can help people along the way by pointing them in the right directions with blog posts or podcast episodes, it's still serving my ultimate mission.
No, I totally get that.
Awesome.
And it's actually, I actually partnered up with somebody from a different state in Texas, because I'm out here in Southern California. But we actually started doing a blab show, and we're calling it, it's called Tech Gratitude and Attitude. And she's a coach for entrepreneurial women. And it's funny because we did a pilot last week we wanted to go about 20 minutes or so, and it went an hour and a half because we had a whole bunch of people just coming in and asking different things. We decided, okay, let's make sure we just do a half hour. You know, we did it again. Our official one was on Monday, and we went over an hour again. You know, so, but it's not really about. The whole focus is really not to be about tech or coaching people, or for her as entrepreneur women and so forth, getting their business started. But it's a positive collaboration, I think, exactly what you guys are doing here, and just empowering people to. I mean, how hard is it to really help folks out there? You know, without having second intention. You just think how easy. You know, and this may sound like some kind of far-fetched dream, but in reality, we can. Each one of us is making a positive difference for someone else. You know, one of the things that I always end a conversation with is usually, you know, be a blessing for someone or make a difference in someone's life today or this week. And if you apply that, just that simple, just as simple as that, as even as opening a door for someone. I mean, think about it. It's just, it can multiply and I don't know, just make it a better environment for all of us in that sense, you know?
Wow.
And we'll take over the world that way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I absolutely love that. You know, just when we were starting to pay off some debt and the stress was being eliminated and everything, I just said to my husband, honey, I got a blog about this. This is crazy. How can we be living like this tight and struggling and fighting and having that tension? I don't want to live like that anymore. And now we've just seen the changes. We need to tell people about this. And so that led into the blog. And as I was blogging for a few months, I thought, honey, I need to have a podcast. I really need to tell people how amazing this is. I never once thought about that I'm building a business here. That all of that has come afterwards, just giving and helping and really serving other people just so they can understand and appreciate. And of course, I'm coming at that perspective from a financial view, but it's amazing how it doesn't matter the method when you're really putting out goodness in the world, when you're really looking to serve other people. There are some tremendous opportunities overall. It's amazing to see.
No, it truly is. I mean, couldn't have said it better myself. You know, that's awesome.
Thank you.
We think about, hopefully, maybe Rocco has, but hopefully the rest of us have never been in prison. But whenever you
was it the beard, Rocco? I don't know, man.
When
I wish to invoke my Fifth Amendment rights at this point.
Yeah, but whenever you're even kids, you know, when you're bad, we're sent to isolation. Go to your room, or you know, we've been watching Orange is the New Black. If you do something really bad, you're put in the shoe, right? And we're put into this isolation. We can't interact with anyone else, but whenever we do that to ourselves voluntarily, and it's not always intentional, but we kind of isolate ourselves. And Amy, you're talking about wanting to share your story. I'm sure you're probably scared to do it. I know when I've shared parts of mine, I was pretty terrified. But then all of a sudden you start interacting with other people who have had similar challenges. We begin to pull ourselves out of that isolation into that away from that alone time and being able to connect with other people who have gone through similar things, and we all become better for it. And that is the purpose of this mastermind. Joe One World, is that TV on the end? Maybe that partially answers your question, Joe. It's not isolating ourselves. It's giving ourselves the chance to connect with other people that are going through the same things.
Well, I don't want to take up, the hot seat on here, a long time, but I wanted to know, I would love to follow your group and just be involved in some of that, because I think you guys are doing an amazing job at keeping that positive flow going and really, honestly, making a real difference, man. Because, I feel, again, just re-energized, like my batteries are ready to go again. Here we go, Bunny, ready to go and have at it. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. I'm pumped up.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So how do we connect? Carlos and Ellory? Ellory, what's the best way for him to connect with you?
Anybody that wants to email me, you've got the URL because it's in the title, ElloryWells.com, but it's Ellory at ElloryWells.com. If you search for that on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, anywhere else, like I said it before, I'm the only Ellory Wells in the world.
And he lives on Facebook, so he's there all the time.
Well, I try.
That's how I communicate.
My wife called me a ham. I don't know, man. You might take the cake on that one.
Well, just when I decide to sign off of Facebook, they pull me back in, Rocco.
Yeah, but again, I think just not just as a single out area, but I think all you guys are doing just really cool stuff. And I want to make sure that I keep popping in and just getting that recharge. Absolutely, it's contagious and it's great. So
awesome.
I appreciate it, you guys.
Thanks, Carlos. Yeah, send me an email, man. Love to chat with you.
Ellory, thank you so much. And Amy,
Thank you guys.
I'm learning how to be a better blabster watching Amy. Amy is really good. So Amy, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me and saving me as my computer kept freezing.
It's been a lot of fun today. Really appreciate you having us join you.
Oh, this is great. Any closing words from start with Amy and then we'll let Ellory close it out.
The last thing I would say is you have so much more to offer the world than most people give themselves credit for. So if you're thinking about it or considering that sort of a thing, and my 3-year-old's trying to join in the conversation here, sorry. If you're thinking about joining a mastermind, now's the time. Ask the questions, really take that first step, and you'll be amazed what can happen in your own life.
Yeah, ditto from me. How about you? Thank you, Amy. Ellory, what parting words?
Did you want me to mention my next one or no?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, that was yeah. There is room. There's room at the end. Oh
Okay.
Goodness, I'm gonna hide. Don't let me talk.
So I usually start a new mastermind group maybe once a quarter, and January is coming very fast. A brand new year, a new month, and I do have a new mastermind group starting pretty quick. There are 2, maybe 3 spots left. Some of them have already been filled. If you are interested, you've got my email address by now. You can shoot me a note. If you want the guide that I've been pulling some of this information from, that I have sent current people like Amy and Rocco and John and people who've been commenting, I've created a short link. If you go to ElloryWells.com/mastermind blab, I think is what I did. I think that's what it is. I think it's mastermind blab. Sorry about that. I meant to not forget. And you can just put in your email, and I just got to know where I can send it to you. Don't be overwhelmed. It's a 37-page PDF of a pretty thorough guide that a lot of people have used to start their own. So when we got a question earlier about how to start, that's what I would tell you. Just read that and do that, and it'll tell you not only some options, but how I do it.
That site, once again, is ElloryWells.com/mastermindblab. All
I
one
sure
word.
hope so. I'm going to type it in here.
I thought you paused to build up some, intensity.
Open link in new tab. Let me see what it is. Okay. If that doesn't work, yeah, Mastermind Blab. That'll take you right there, and you can download again what I was pulling from before. The last thing that I would mention to wrap it up, and Rocco, feel free to take it over one more time if you need to. But if you haven't heard the phrase from Napoleon Hill in a book he wrote called Think and Grow Rich 80 years ago, he talks about how we are the average of the 5 people with whom we spend the most time. And it is absolutely so 100,000% true. So if you don't like where you are and you don't like your friends, to pull from a Jim Rohn quote, you are not a tree. You can get up and move. So change the people who you can hang out with, and you're going to start seeing positive changes in your life. And, whether that starts today or in a week or a month, that's ultimately up to you. And hopefully you have seen that you can get together with a group like this, have fun, talk about business and moving forward and doing incredible things with your life, and it not be a stodgy business meeting that you hate going to. So it's possible to have fun and get results at the same time. So yeah, that's I dropped the mic, but it's on a mic stand. So there you go.
Excellent. So what we're going to do now, I think Rocco is done, that we will check in with him afterward. But we just want to thank you for joining us. And you can have all your questions answered if you go once again to ellorywells.com/mastermindlab. Hey, thanks so much. Have a great night. And we'll talk to you soon.